stream. All right. So it seems we are live. Okay, guys, so I'm going to kind of do a quick breakdown between what I experienced in crypto winter of 2018 and now going into another crypto winter. And I want folks to kind of get better prepared, or at least kind of like what's the mentality going to be like. So back in 2018, right, was the very first bear market that I experienced. Okay, so just so you know, this is a live stream, guys. I have not been creating content as consistently. I really would like to apologize for that. Firstly, I have zero editing skills. Hence, the live stream button has been my go-to way of kind of creating content. At the same time, also, I realized that creating content is something that you have to do, very, very consistently in order to build an audience. But I hope that has not stopped, and I truly appreciate the folks that have been occasionally taking the time, whether both new or my veteran followers or new folks who are new to the channel. Thank you for always just supporting and watching regardless, right? So like right now, when I am recollecting, remembering how and what it was like during 2018. Now, first and foremost, 2018 was when Bitcoin went all the way until 18,000. Hi DC, long time, man. So, 2018 was when Bitcoin and Ethereum first hit $20,000 and $1,000 respectively. Now, at that time, I don't remember, any particular reason for the whole market correction. Okay, it was a very, very new space. ICOs were the thing, initial coin offerings, where everybody was stating that they are going to launch the latest, hottest Ethereum killer, a better cryptocurrency, a more efficient blockchain network. That was the pitch, right? And at the time, Singapore was the place to be, right? Where, we were still kind of figuring out, how to raise more money. And we were always very excited when new projects were coming to Singapore to showcase themselves. Now, obviously, a large part of these companies are no longer around, or they have been building behind the scenes. And those that are still around obviously are still having really healthy or decently healthy developer communities. And obviously the ones that have left were, were either scams, or they were folks who, didn't have the ability to even build anything sustainable or anything of use, right? So I think crypto is all about the community and the actual use case. So this is gonna be a rather lengthy episode, but I'll try to squeeze everything to around half an hour. I've always loved the longer content. So if you guys kind of like the longer content instead of the very short, 50 minutes content, I'm kind of like not the guy. But I have a lot of stories that I love to share with you guys, because I've been in the space since 2016, and it's been a cyclical thing. It's been very fun. At the same time, it's been very depressing when I see people lose all their funds. And, it seems like it has not changed, right? With Luna happening, with now Celsius, and recently with Three Arrows Capital also having liquidity issues. Man, it doesn't seem like, I guess the market and the dynamics have changed. But I feel that right now, more than ever, I think the public needs to continuously be educated, and I think the right people to continue to share that kind of content is also very important. So first and foremost, let me try to give a quick history, right? Quick history. So in 2018, we literally lost a lot of our money. We lost 90% of our portfolio as well, because that was when Bitcoin from 2018 and in a matter of months fell to literally $6,000, and then it fell to $3,000. So is that gonna repeat itself? Now, I think everyone wants to know whether we are going to see the crypto market, or at least Bitcoin in particular, drop from, say, now at 20,000 to 10,000, or even potentially to 5,000. Now, I feel that the dynamics are slightly different. Firstly, at the time in 2018, there were very, very few institutions that were willing to come out there and say they would openly buy Bitcoin. Now you have countries like El Salvador that have made it their kind of reserve currency, okay? You have companies like MicroStrategy that, of course, lost kind of like a little bit, right, recently because of a certain margin call. They were slightly leveraged, but not as bad. But what I am concerned is that there are more hedge funds that are leveraged and they actually received margin calls, which caused this very huge capitulation from 30,000 to 20,000, right? And if you look at the charts, okay, so I'm not gonna like tango back and forth because I feel it's pretty irrelevant. I feel that my audience is mature enough that they will know how to use TradingView and they will know how to toggle between back and forth. So I'm just gonna go everything like straight from the hip, right? So that I keep the content going. So from 20,000, right? Sorry, from 30,000, okay, we literally dropped another drop below 20,000, and at $17,850 or $17,650 was like kind of a Fibonacci 0.786 ratio. That is like, if you pull the chart like from historically, from the very first time Bitcoin was listed on Binance, right? You can use Binance, you can use Coinbase, you can use Bitstamp. It doesn't matter what chart. But if you kind of pull that Fibonacci, you would notice that that was a very key level, I guess, right? But you're now seeing Bitcoin kind of struggling to see whether it will maintain 20,000. Now, personally, I feel that there has to be a reason why we purchase Bitcoin, okay? A lot of, like everybody loves to hear Michael Saylor when he comes out and he kind of puts it out there like why Bitcoin is important. And, everybody's comparing it to digital gold, a store of value, so on and so forth. But I think it's very important that the retail investor understands why they're buying Bitcoin, okay? And the retail investor at this point of time has very little reason to own Bitcoin. I kind of have to be very frank. After 6 years in this space, right, when I ask myself, why do I buy Bitcoin? Personally, I consider it a hedge. But it's not a very good hedge, don't you think? Because if it's a hedge, shouldn't it be reacting opposite to stocks, for example? But however, that's not the case, right? In fact, it moves pretty much closely to the S&P 500 or anything that is aggressive. Like it moves exactly in correlation to anything that's growth related. So I'm having some buffering issues, guys. So if you kind of lose me, I'm really, really sorry. I'm not entirely sure what's the issue here with YouTube. But anyway, I just got this yellow signal that says that you are not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. So if you're experiencing any buffering issues, forgive me. So okay, right now, right, when you are seeing the whole market in this cycle again, you notice that stocks are aggressively being sold off, okay? But when you see aggressive, you notice for a fact that if you bought early enough, okay, so the keyword here, guys, is early enough, you're actually gonna be in a very good spot still. Okay, so folks who are in the chat now, perhaps maybe you've been with me since 2018, you know for a fact that even if Ethereum and Bitcoin are where they are, they were at the all-time high back in 2017. Okay? So you practically won't feel a thing if you held your Ethereum and Bitcoin if you were in that cycle. Now, it won't be such a good thing when you are actually a 2021, late 2021 baby to a 2022 baby. That's when the whole DeFi, NFT, metaverse started kicking off. Okay? So all these things have taken a huge pullback. Like we're talking about 80 to 90% pullback, right? This is no different from what we experienced back in 2018, right? And I'm still here. Now, what did I do differently and how I could have improved. So I'm just gonna share this with you. All the while, when I made the money, I always had an objective. Okay, I always had the objective in mind to clear as much debt as possible and have as much reserves as possible, right? Because I have 2 kids and a wife that I have to kind of care for, right? So financially, I'm the guy that has to make sure that I put food on the table. So as a full-time investor, I don't have a monthly salary, okay? Like, and notice that YouTube is definitely not my thing. Unlike a lot of current YouTubers that I know, right? And I do follow and I do watch, they at least still make a decent, healthy income from YouTube. But I don't. Neither do I take any kinds of forms of, marketing or endorsements or sponsorships because the content is just irregular, right? Nobody will watch anyway. So I'm just saying that as an investor, I had a very strict exit strategy, right? I had a number that I had to hit. And if I hit that number, I would definitely start liquidating my positions. That means I would start selling off, going back to cash, right? So that I could make sure that I fulfill and be able to feed my family, pay any bills or whatever for a number of years. That was how I always thought. It wasn't about buying a Lambo for me. It was never the case, okay? Like at the time, let me see. If we are 6 years, if that was 6 years ago, I'd be 34 years old. So, yes, I did make a very good and nice, comfortable pool of money back in 2017. And everybody knows that I did do my cash outs and I did pretty well. But I want to do better. I want to do better by giving you the value to prepare, right? What you need to do now. So first and foremost, in this and during this period of time, right, is the bear market. Everybody has lost money, but I don't want anyone to lose faith in this space. Please, because the one thing that a lot of people did and should not have done was leave the space. Okay? Let me reiterate that. Anyone who left the space at the time, if they didn't cash out at the high, okay, they are clearly kicking themselves because they did not dollar cost average and just being simple, buying Bitcoin and Ethereum. Nobody needed to do anything special. Yes, if you had the insights or the extra income to go a little bit further into the space and start kind of buying, projects that you felt would be would have a good potential in the next bull run, those made a killing as well. Okay, to be fair, those folks who did that and they actually put out lesser capital than if you were to buy Bitcoin or Ethereum. They actually put in very little money into, for example, Sandbox, into Uniswap, the DeFi stuff, and they invested pennies on the dollar. We're talking about like 4-figure investments, guys. Like literally anybody, even a kid, can do $1,000 investment. And at that time, they saw huge gains when the bull market came back. So now I'm kind of sharing this because what I did was I started a business, right, that was focused on marketing. Although that business didn't work out, right, I still stayed in the space. I still stayed in crypto, right? Even though I lost money on that business, I still stayed invested. So when I stayed invested for my portfolio, right, which was significantly less because I had to channel money for the business, right? I was hiring folks, I had an office, and that was for 1.5 years. So although I lost money on that's completely went to zero, okay? Like just zero, lost money. But I continued to dollar cost average into everything else that I still believed in. For example, just straight up Ethereum, right? Polkadot, right? I invested in a little bit of Uniswap, into Cardano even, and Hedera Hashgraph, stuff like that. Stuff that I had a connection to. At the same time, I was still researching on them and kind of monitoring their growth. That was what I did. And that was what most of us did. We didn't have a lot to invest in because we lost literally 90%. And this was just on the altcoins, right? So thankfully, nothing went to zero. That was quite an amazing feat in itself. I've always advocated a very small portfolio. And I think anyone who has followed me knows for a fact that I've always advocated a portfolio of less than 10, like personally less than 5 cryptocurrencies, right? And that's actually pretty hard to do, because there are so many projects that I told myself if I was willing to extend more capital into and have maybe a larger portfolio, and we're talking about not really much into anything else. Like say for example, just to put another $1,000 into Terra or Luna, like just be more open-minded, right? Now, please kind of not have a bad taste in your mouth when I mention Terra, Terra first, or even have a bad taste in your mouth when I mention Celsius. I didn't invest in those projects because I'm always rather conservative, because I didn't believe that there's so many lending platforms could survive at one time, right? Because when you have a lending platform, you need to have some regulatory oversight. There has to be someone who keeps the check and balances, right? And if everyone is just self-regulating, or everyone is just maintaining their own liquidity and saying that they have enough to kind of provide the market, but is there enough borrowers to begin with to even is there even enough borrowers to even provide a healthy lending to people who are putting their hard-earned crypto into these platforms? So it always got to me that, although I'm going to sit this one out, I wanted to observe for a bit, because these were new to me. Okay, these were new to me. Lending platforms were just new to me. I was just trading the volatility because I know that the market had enough volume. I was just putting my money and just trading. That's all I was doing. And it was just mostly buy, sell, buy, sell. It was very, very quick. It was very, very simple. It was pretty much a no-brainer. It's like as if you were to do trading in 2017 on Poloniex or Bittrex, that kind of stuff. So when I started to understand the fundamentals, that's the part that got me a little worried. But I was already not doing much content at that time. So I told myself, okay, I better stop trying to dive too deep, because I didn't understand where this liquidity was coming from and how healthy was this whole ecosystem. Now, and I already knew back in the ICO days of 2017 that if you were a company that had enough funding, you could literally say whatever you want, and a lot of people will just kind of follow you. It's just the way it was. It was very difficult to convince anyone otherwise, and it was also very difficult to prove anyone otherwise, right? Because when you say that you had funding from all the top VCs, for example, Three Arrows Capital was already backing Luna, right? When you have someone like Three Arrows Capital already pumping in money and backing Luna, right? You kind of like, you better just shut your mouth. You know what I mean? It's very hard to, as a retail investor, to kind of say, oh, you know what? These guys, they know exactly what they are doing. They are the sharks. They are the big fish. They kind of know that end of the day, we got it covered. We have our compliance team, our legal team. We've looked at the code, or we've spoken to these people, and we trust them. That's why our money is there. Now, think of it this way. Hedge funds, apart from having their own money, at some point when they become reputable enough, they are actually investing other people's money as well. Okay? So for the fact of the matter is that since the risk is a reputational risk if they get it wrong, right? There's no real money lost on their part personally, because I know for a fact that the founders themselves are already billionaires. They are already well-to-do. They don't have to worry a single day, even if their hedge fund goes down. I just be very, very frank. Okay, they're just gonna just have to admit that it's a default. The market condition, so on and so forth, and mistakes were made or whatever, and they just have to either wrap up or try to settle the whole matter. I'm not saying that Three Arrows is doing all that. I'm just giving an example, but this is kind of like what's in the news. So kind of like when I look at it from a retail investor standpoint, how many bullets does a retail investor have? Retail investors don't have many chances to make mistakes. Retail investors should not, right, actually gather funds from friends and relatives. I'll be very frank, I don't even like doing that. In fact, when I did it, I only did it once, and I got them in and I got them out, because that weight on your shoulder, right? When things are doing great, you feel damn good, right? That was 2017. But in 2018, if I hadn't got them out, I would feel so miserable, because everybody would have lost tons of money, right? So that was the truth. I would feel like, I would just feel bad, And right now, when I see that happening on Twitter, and I see the tweets happening about, people losing their friends and family funds because they invested in UST and Terra Luna, I feel sad. I don't feel like, haha, we dodged the bullet. I don't even feel that way, because I'm part of this war too. I'm part of this market too, and I've always been part of this market. So right now, if you are someone who's kind of like, okay, so I'm going to kind of put it this way. You are someone who is having a heavily negative balance portfolio, right? And I hope that you're not leveraged. If you're not leveraged, I would strongly recommend, or at least suggest, that you continue to just stick it through. Buying Bitcoin and buying Ethereum, right? Sticking it through. Now, a lot of people like to say, it's non-financial advice. And yes, it is non-financial advice. I am not a licensed financial advisor, but personally, that I'm speaking with a lot of experience behind me. I'm not someone who just started this channel like yesterday, right? And I speak with a lot of conviction when I say this, because when I make videos these days, I always ask myself, how can I provide the most valuable stuff? And that's kind of like why I'm doing my videos these days. So right now, if I could give a piece of, a suggestion, man, I can't even say advice, a suggestion, an idea, I would love for you guys to stay on in the market. I would love for you guys to continue to learn. Like if you were invested in UST or Terra Luna, or you were someone who read that article and you kind of like, oh wow, this is so scary. I think I would like to avoid this market for now. Yes, nothing wrong with avoiding it. Okay, but always continue to read and see who is actually developing. Okay, stay in the space and kind of stay strong. Because at this point of time, if you kind of leave the market and you stop dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin or Ethereum, you practically won't want to see the rest of the market. Now, there are folks who are involved in the whole NFT space. Now, NFT, on the other hand, I'm starting to get interested now because it's starting to be slightly less ridiculous. Okay, so why the sudden change in mentality, Ryan? Months back, you were saying that NFTs are bullshit. Yes, majority are still bullshit. To me, I feel that building an ecosystem is not as easy as it looks. It has never been. Okay, building a community and building a proper functioning, healthy ecosystem that can not only hold your NFTs securely, transact them safely, and having a marketplace that is fair is not easy to build. So yes, I am aware of Solana marketplaces. I'm aware of OpenSea. I know that there are even marketplaces that are potentially going to be opening up on Polkadot, right? But let's leave that aside first. Let's talk about why even bother buying an NFT. I think at this point of time, firstly, the prices have come down significantly. Okay, at the time, obviously, you had Ethereum at $2,000. You had or even $3,000 or $4,000, and you have a very high price on the NFTs. Now, during this period of time, a lot of projects will be wiped out. Okay, same thing as the ICOs that launch, any project that was launched as an ICO back in 2017 and they didn't have enough funding through 2018 or 2019. Right now, it's going to be the exact same thing. You're going to see companies who are either building the infrastructure to support the NFT marketplaces. Okay, you're also going to see you're going to find a lot more creators trying to build something and give something of value and build a true community during this period. These are the ones that you kind of want to stay tuned and keep your eyes and ears peeled. Thirdly, Ethereum and Solana, which are, kind of the hotter, cryptocurrencies, and even Polygon, right? They're all cheaper. They're significantly cheaper now. So I'm not going to care too much about what is the hottest trend. I'm just going to see what's really sustainable at this point in time, because I know for a fact that communities are going to be much more quiet. People who are truly excited about their project will continue to still talk about their project. Founders who have been showing integrity and continuously engaging with the community will continue to still speak about their project, because they never cared about the money, like for real. And they're not here to damage anything. They're not here to kind of scam you and take the money and run. See, during this period of time, it's your best time to use a little bit of money to test out the NFT space, right? Because firstly, you're buying Ethereum significantly cheaper. The gas fees won't be as ridiculous because the whole market is just not as hot anymore, right? So you're not going to pay stupid gas fees. Founders or creators or artists, right, who are going to be launching an NFT collection are not going to mint and expect a high minting rate, right? So all these things are going to give you, right, the ability to kind of come in and buy it at a cheap price, like to test it out. That's when you learn how to use MetaMask. That's when you start learning how to, buy, sell, and observe the analytics on whatever platform that you choose. Now is the best time, man. Like if you stayed away from the market at this point of time, you would miss out on this whole trend again. And then when the whole bull market comes back, and guys, it's just a matter of time. I will not be able to tell you when, right? To me, okay, logically, once the interest rate has stopped, right? The interest rate has stopped climbing. They would stop hiking. They are satisfied with the interest rate hikes. They're satisfied. They feel that, okay, the inflation has been curbed. We are going to start either reducing or just keeping it stable. That's when the market will return. Also, when China starts opening up. Like when China starts opening up, right? That's also going to be somewhat of a catalyst that helps the market start moving again. Now, everybody is just going to be very quiet this whole period. There's going to be continued sell-off, okay? There's still going to be continued sell-off, guys. The blood has more or less flowed out already, but there's still going to be more blood. I don't believe that this is the end, okay? There's still going to be more blood, so just be very conservative. Like, to me, an NFT is rather fun, guys. So I was kind of like thinking to myself, okay, like when I started my watch collection, right, I don't buy multiple watches. But if you notice, most of us, right, want to have as many of a particular token. Okay, so back in 2017, right, you would want as much of a particular token as you can get your hands on, okay? For whatever reason, whether it was priced less than a penny to, if it's $1, you want to have as many of those tokens as possible. But if you look at the NFT space, right, each one is unique or it has a limited run, right? Maybe 100 off, 200 off, or something like that, okay? And when you think about it, right, when I have my watch collection, I'm happy with my collection. I don't really care about whether it goes up or down. But the use case is I get to wear it, I get to enjoy it, and I hope that when people buy NFTs, they start enjoying and having a connection to not only the artists, but also to the ecosystem that their NFT can be used for. Now, NFTs can be for music, can be for art, of course. It can be, just a picture, right? It's not just a JPEG or, it's a GIF, right? It can be used as a form of recognition. It obviously can be a flex, okay? It obviously can be a flex. And that's why we buy most things, right? Because sometimes we just want to show off, a t-shirt or a piece of artwork, whatever is your deal, whatever that makes you happy. And sometimes maybe people just buy an NFT because, hey, it makes them happy. Now, I can't really say that for when I buy a Bitcoin or when I buy Ethereum. Like, it doesn't really make me happy, you know what I mean? But when I think about it, if people are buying Ethereum to put money into a NFT, and if they are so attached to that NFT, just like I'm attached to my watches, right? I don't want to sell my watches because I like my watches. Like, although my watches have kind of lost money, right, in terms of paper value, I don't say like, oh man, these are all crap watches, right? I will still continue to keep them and appreciate them in my portfolio and appreciate them in my collection. I mean, I still wear them with pride. Now, if that same mentality, right, is happening right now, then Ethereum will not fall to ridiculous levels as it did back in 2017 because the use case has changed. You see where I'm coming from? Like, you suddenly see Ethereum, Solana start going into NFTs that people like to hold, right? Doesn't it make sense? If, let's say a BASI, right? A BASI floor price, okay, let's say a floor price BASI is genuinely 88 to 100 Ethereum. And let's say nobody wants to sell that particular BASI, which is not true. You see quite a number of listings of, lower level BASIs, right? But okay, just follow me here. And if the top percentage of BASI owners, let's say your BASI is 100 Ethereum, and nobody wants to sell that particular BASI, am I right to say that 100 Ethereum is locked up in that particular BASI? You see? So suddenly, the price of Ethereum starts holding. Now, obviously, I'm just giving a very niche example, but it's kind of the same if you think about it, right? So in the past, back in 2017 or leading up to 2018, everyone was involved in an ICO. Nobody really cared about whether or not Ethereum was going to hold. It was just about a matter of how much Ethereum I could make by entering this ICO and making a shit ton load of money, right? If I 10x'd on getting myself involved in an ICO, I would dump it, right? And immediately come back to Ethereum or Bitcoin because I wanted to accumulate more Ethereum or Bitcoin. That's how I did it. Now, I'm not saying that they are not diehard lovers of a particular project, but I'm just saying that if you had done that, that was kind of like the way that we used to do it. Now, the whole dynamic has changed. You buy Ethereum or Solana so that you can actually buy a NFT. You see? So if you are suddenly so attached to that NFT and you know that this NFT is going to give me some IRL benefits or some ecosystem benefits or some early access to a game with additional airdrops and stuff, you wouldn't sell that NFT. You see? So suddenly there's that additional use case for Ethereum. And I've always wondered what would be a good use case, you know what I mean? Like for me, I'm a non-developer. Like when I hold Ethereum, right, I can't write smart contracts that are going to, and I'm not going to write smart contracts and I need to pay for the gas because that's not what I do, right? But now I could use that Ethereum, buy into an NFT that I like, support my favorite artist or support this ecosystem, be part of it, potentially go and have fun with all these people at an event or something, and we can just continue to enjoy and chat and have fun. You see, suddenly you have fun. So kind of like that's where I see the whole NFT space. And I want everyone during this bear market to kind of find a reason why to own crypto. Like please, like if whatever this video is stating, I want everyone to kind of just think how they can be involved. Like why even bother to be involved as an investor, or why even bother to be involved by owning a particular NFT? Just kind of do that for once and see if things change. Anyway, guys, that is all I have for this particular video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope to create more live streams, and hopefully that everyone found this video valuable. If you did, kind of like, please give me a like, to show that there's, still love out there for, my good old little channel. And of course, if you're new, don't feel free to subscribe. And the next time I come live, click on the notification bell and you probably will receive this exact same stream. See you guys.